Hello and welcome to this week's Omsi 2 news. This week we have quite a bit of information to get through. Studio Polygon have released a detailed overview of what their Lite Renown pack and their Gemini 1 pack will feature respectively. In addition, something I failed to do when I was looking at the web disk maps before was to look at the mod maps. These are essentially maps that have already been released but extended by different people or by the same creator to add new lines, new areas, that kind of thing. So a bit like the Smart extension map you may have seen videos of recently. And then finally, we go through some repaints that were released recently. Obviously not all of them because that'll take too long, including some London ones and some ones for the Right Street Lite version 1.2. Because as you may be aware, since version 1.2 of the Streetlight came out, the old repaints basically became obsolete because the template changed, so repainters had to start from scratch and make new repaints. But luckily, a lot of new repaints have populated, so you guys can once again enjoy the Streetlight and not have to drive around in the rather annoying, and if you ask me, a bit ridiculous Studio Polygon default library, because who wants to be driving around in that kind of fictional library, if you ask me. But because it is a bit annoying because they did remove the Lux library for some reason, which was the plain white, and I know other people also kind of found that annoying. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, I think the same happened with the Gemini 3, to be fair. They also moved the Lux White library. A bit annoying why they did that, but anyway. Moving on, that was quite a big tangent. So first of all, the Studio Polygon Renown, many of you will be aware of this project. This is being worked on by River Seedle. One interesting thing to talk about these two projects before we start getting into them or dive into them is that the two previous projects by Studio Polygon, the Light Street Light by River Seedle and the Enviro 400 MMC by First Enviro, were that those were basically the newest generations of the Right and the ADL buses equivalently, or thereabouts the newest 06 generations. Whereas now we're kind of going back to the early 2000s of the first generations, generally, of the Gemini, and in the case of the Renown, it's kind of, I guess in a way, the predecessor to the Streetlight, even though they're two quite different buses. But anyway, many of you will be aware of this project. There have been teaser screenshots of this before, so I'm not too sure why there's no image included for the Gemini 1 or the Renown. Now, there are more screenshots of the Renown than the Gemini, but I haven't included any screenshots here because we'll just probably see them when I've shown them before in the Omsi news, and also they'll probably be in the thumbnail. Well, anyhow, the Studio Polygon, as you all know, is based off the Volvo B10 BLE chassis by Repaints in Ballymena, Northern Ireland. And this is going to be a low body entry single decker. I think it's one of the first low entry single deckers by Repaints, as far as I'm aware. I think they were available since 1999 or 2000. 1999 might be 1999. And then the features they have here, basically. So they've kind of included the features. There'll be regional single door and dual door variants. Over 20 customizability options basically means that there'll be over 20 set values. So this is for the repainters. You can change the look of the bus. They have immersive sound sets, so basically they've recorded sounds from 3 different buses, so hopefully that will make the sound as realistic as possible and just increase the dynamicism of the bus and the experience one gets from driving it, because obviously that will just make the driving experience that extra bit more realistic. In addition to the sounds, another crucial part to the simulation or to any bus is that it behaves and handles accurately. So they say here that they have focused and put a great attention to detail into how the vehicle handles, so that should also make it more like driving a real-life Right Streetlight B10 BLA Crusader or Renown. I think they're sometimes known as Crusaders, if I'm not mistaken, maybe not. Or, yeah, anyway, we'll stick to the Renown. Then also, they have had now this is the next 3 stuff are basically stuff that's kind of easier to incorporate because then the other buses they have. So they have the Hanover, the Royal Binds, and they have 3 ticket machines. I'm not too familiar with all the ticket machines because I don't really care too much about ticketing, if I'm quite honest. But it's basically all the other ticket machines they have in the Enviro 400 MC in the Streetlight you can expect on the Renown as well. And then obviously they say here that this will behave accurately as an AI bus. So if you add it as an AI bus, it should behave accurately. Now, I know people were saying that the Streetlight, even version 1.2, there were some problems with how the AI behaves. So I don't know how exactly that's going to work, but basically that might be improved. I don't know, but that's what they say here anyway. The price of this DLC is going to be £13.50. If you look at the exchange rate between £1 to €1, it's going to be just at the moment it tends to fluctuate, but at the moment it's about £1 is equivalent to €1.17. This is the day this video was recorded. It might have changed by 1 or 2, 1 pence down, 1 pence up, But anyway, but generally it seems to be the case that it's probably about €15 because that's the case beforehand. And I think the Streetlight and the Polygon MMC are also £13.50, but €15. So the exchange rate isn't 1 to 1. But anyway, so pretty much the price is in line with the previous packs, which I guess is good in a way because some people, they're not charging more than before. Then also, at the same time as releasing the Renown, they've also released the Gemini 1. Now, I'm not sure if they've been working on these two packs from this roughly the same time, but the information about the Renown was out a lot, like they started posting teasers of Renown a lot earlier than the Gemini 1. This is probably something a lot of people will be looking forward to, because people do tend to quite like the Geminis, although I know people kind of prefer, some people seem to be more inclined to want the Gemini 2, although that may just have been based off what I've seen from my own YouTube viewers. But anyway, the Studio Polygon Gemini is a low floor entry bus, so it's a low floor entry double decker based off the Volvo B70L or the Volvo B90L chassis by Right Bus in Ballymena, Northern Ireland again. So this is basically what the pack will include. It's quite similar to the Renown in the sense that it'll have B70L variants, B90L variants. So this is basically your B70L and B90L chassis. I'm pretty sure, yep. And again, there'll be regional single door and regional dual door variants. But in contrast to the Renown, I'm not even sure if they had them in London. I think they did have some Renowns in London. No, not sure then why there's no London spec. But here there'll be London dual door variants of the Gemini 1. Now, I guess the question here will be, will they be available upon release, or will they be in a part of a future update? Because obviously there'll be quite a bit of extra work, but who knows. The London dual door variants, basically, the kind of thing about this is, now, the interesting thing about this is, obviously these buses haven't been in service in London for a while. I'm not sure when they got withdrawn, but maybe in 2015 when Ad London's based, there was these buses still driving around. So the Gemini ones might actually be suitable for adult London in a way, if you're looking for the realism. But there's also other London maps coming up, but I think they're based off the more present day, present day, pretty much. So not 6 years ago. Also then, immersive sound sets, so basically again, they've, now it's interesting here, they don't say how many buses that they've used to record the sounds, which might indicate it's been less than 3. Usually when you omit such information, it's because adding that information would make it look in a way less. So I presume at least they've recorded off one Gemini 1, hopefully, and might have recorded off other buses, like not Gemini 1s, I'm not too sure, or maybe they just didn't include how many buses they recorded off, but I presume there'll be at least one Gemini 1 there, so that should give at least a decent sound set to be used on the bus. Then also vehicle simulation, they say here it'll handle like a real life Gemini 1. Then again, your handover displays, your roll binds, and your 3D ticket machines, pretty much what you can expect, same as what you've known, which we discussed there. And this should behave accurately as an AI. This will also be £13.50. You can't actually see the price, but it's literally just down there, and the reason for that is it just got to cut out when the power forward did the auto thing, but you can see the basic information. So yeah, if you want the full thing, just on it's on the Discord, so do feel free to join the Discord, because I did post this information already there in the Omsi2 News channel, so that way you kind of get this information a bit earlier in advance. Anyway, moving on. Now here is where the mod pack was released. So a new mod pack was released for the Dusseldorf. It's basically as new, it says 4 lines, I think it's actually 5 because it's E1 to E5. This is a fictional extension to Dusseldorf, and it has, yeah, as I said, E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, and it just adds more lines you can drive. It's interesting now, I think you need to have the Dusseldorf line 721 for this to work, but what's interesting is that it's obviously, Dusseldorf is a strange one because it's by Kevin Nichman, so we all know he's not the most popular creator, and obviously kind of known to tend to sway towards or gravitate towards quantity over quality. But it's interesting because the original Dusseldorf DLC, the 30-year one, the one that came out first, is not popular at all. Yeah, it's pretty much not popular. Whereas the Dusseldorf line 71 is actually quite liked, so there's interesting contrast there. So that might just that's just a little point I decided to add in there. I don't have Dusseldorf myself, so I won't be doing any videos or showing this, but you know, if you guys have this, I guess depending on which one it's extended more of, you might enjoy this not more or less. But anyway, now we go into the Repaints section of the Omsi2 News. So an RATP London Repaint pack was released for the Enviro 400, so as you can see here. Yep, nothing really more to say to it. And then there's lots of new repaints that have been released for version 1.2 of the Streetlight, which you can check out on Felsom. And basically, the one I decided to feature is a Stagecoach one by DD Deering. And the reason I did this is because the Stagecoach libraries do tend to be quite popular, especially because a lot of UK players will be familiar with Stagecoach. They're one of the biggest operators out there. And this one's based off the Simplybus North Lincolnshire branch of Stagecoach. But it just adds to, you know, adds to the fleet, I guess, and just the variety, and also, yeah, that kind of thing. So that's available on Felsom as well. And folks, that really brings us to an end to this week's Omsi2 News. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for your weekly Omsi2 News updates. Do join the Discord to stay even more on top of the latest Omsi2 News, where this stuff tends to be posted in advance, and there's some devs and that kind of stuff posted, teasers, all that, you know, and just talk about repaints, and where people just talk about the Omsi2 News in general. And of course, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, comment down below, and yeah, that's really it for now. Until next time, bye for now.